It almost seems to be dressed in green to kind of camouflage Godzilla
You're
style. So
totally
then,
camos.
yeah.
Hi guys, welcome back to JD Unplugged slash JD Podcast slash JD slash JD slash DJ. How's it
That's
going?
right. The OG use because neither of us are, musical enough, I guess. But that's right. So welcome back, everybody. Make sure to hop in, dip out, and get unplugged for
Yeah,
today's
man.
episode.
With the J and the D. The D and
Like,
the J. Get
yeah,
it plugged
wait
or get
on
it
it.
unplugged. One or the other. Pick one.
One.
Alright, so Joe, how you been? How was your weekend?
Good, 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 good. My weekend was good. I did some Jovan Secret podcast episodes. I
Okay.
yeah, I kind of took advantage of our scheduling situation and just grabbed that guest, slapped him on Zoom, and did a little thing. So I won't say who it is because it's a secret now, right? We don't know who it is, but yeah. So that was fun. I got outside a little bit, even though it's still nippy now, which is unfortunate. But
But no snow.
eventually, we're getting there. Scary thing though, little statistical update. Across the world, like on several major first world country reports, are saying that the new mutations are causing spikes in the count of people who have COVID. So
Oh wow.
some bullshit that I did not want to hear. I thought we were getting ahead of the
Uh,
curve, so I'm kind of pissed about that. But the
what can
vaccines
you
are
do?
still on course, so yeah, all we can do is wait, kind of, right?
Until
Hope.
it starts to spread, yeah, until the vaccines start to spread, and then that's basically it.
Exactly. It's like the devil and Jesus just fucking go at it. Yeah.
So overall, just a good weekend then, yeah?
Right.
Chilling,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
relaxing.
Other than that piece of news, yeah. 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 It's been really good. How about you? How have you been
Alright,
up?
that's good. That's good. Uh, my weekend was alright. Like, I honestly, from Monday to Friday, I do like a lot of work on my computer or my phone.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like Saturday and Sunday, I try to like shut my phone off so that I don't really like. And normally we film, guys. We film our podcast on Sunday. We're filming it on Tuesday today because
That's
I
right. So we're kind of going to be more up to date in case there's any news that kind of drops.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely, right.
Yeah.
So um, we had a bit of a well, it's just me really. I don't know. Sometimes I just like I don't know what it is. Like just this past the week that just passed, um, I don't know what it is. Like I was like reaching out to some friends and things like this. I'll get into it, but I just mentally I don't know what is going on. Is it me? I don't know the change of weather or I don't know. I
Yeah.
think. Well, what do you think? What do you think? What were you gonna mention? What were
Well,
you
I
gonna
guess
say?
I don't know yet, but I just know that I've kind of felt that myself. Even though, like, just the crazy weather has kind of messed with my head, right? I mean, it's almost, I forget what it is. I think it's almost half of all Canadians experience seasonal affective disorder. It doesn't
Okay.
have to necessarily mean you get sad, as the acronym would suggest, right? Seasonal affective disorder, but yeah, it can cause emotional shifts, kind of the same as when there's high tide with the moon. Apparently,
Uh,
crime stats go up. So it's like we are affected by our own environment. So
mhm. I do think I'm honestly affected by the moon because I love the moon. Like I have the moon tattooed on the top of my hand. I've like it's one of my. If anybody asks me, okay, where can I put my emoji, like my name
oh
as the
yeah,
emoji in your phone? I would say put a moon. Like
yeah.
everybody
No.
has me as the moon.
Well, I'm gonna
So
do that now. I'm gonna do
yeah,
that.
you
Just
should.
by
You
you
should.
saying that now, I'm gonna do that. Yeah. Nice.
But and I think a lot of the times the moon is usually full every like 15 to 20 days. So normally near the end of the month or depending in the middle of the month, depending on when, whatever. Besides the point, those are the times that I find that I always feel kind of like, for instance, it's the middle of the month, like dead middle of the month. And sometimes I don't know. It's like I can't get over this like feeling that I constantly have, and this is like what I'm going to be going into the topic for my segment. So essentially, going into things, guys, we're going to be segmenting um, the show a little bit, where I'll have my little segment, and then Joel will have his segment, and when we have our guests, we have our guests. We take it easy, we chill, we keep it popping, basically. But
Yeah.
going into my segment essentially is basically like my mental health. It's like you sometimes people are like ashamed or they're like I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's
Well,
not really. It doesn't.
it's a personal thing. So it a lot of the times, and especially if you live in a a toxic work environment, because I have before, it can be something where it's justifiable why you wouldn't want to tell people because people can be
Right.
nasty. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think I have a little bit of like PTSD from that, or like just because I was working in a place and I wouldn't tell people, and then I would keep it bottled up and yada yada yada. So I think that essentially, like, remember I was mentioning prior that I was having like really bad dreams always. Like, I'm always having really bad dreams,
Yeah.
and it's like yikes. So I was reaching out to some friends just about it because this prior week and this week, or not this week, but the week prior and then the week prior to that, um, I just have been feeling like just I don't know what it is. Like, I just it's the strangest feeling. Like, the way I can like describe it is like an X-Men. Picture X-Men, okay? If I were to have like any power of like the X-Men, my power would definitely be like telekinesis or like something with the mind, or like I always bring up like Dark Phoenix, or like something where like it's like something's just burning inside of me. That's why I have this. This is the um,
Yeah.
essentially like my brand is this is the fire that's burning inside of me, and this barbed wire is just something that's constantly keeping it at like bay. And
Mhm.
I'll give you an example of like this is why like I feel like that I would relate to a character like the Phoenix, or something that's like inside there's like some sort of like internal struggle, and I constantly am like I don't know what it is. It's like I juggle. I have like I think I'm very empathetic, and I think I take on a lot of like people's feelings, and I always want to impress people, and I always want to make everybody happy, and that sometimes affects my mental health, and it stems with my family in specific. Like, I kind of don't really talk to my family. The little family that I have, I don't really talk to, because it's just for my mental health. It's better just for me to just to stay away. But at the same time, then I don't really like family is important to have. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It can leave a hole for sure.
yeah, so to cut that part of your life, it's going to leave some sort of like, like a scar, or like a burn, or something, a wound that's open, something, you know. And that right now is like my struggle essentially, and I've been constantly like just all the time. I'll wake up, literally, I will get like 3 hours of sleep per like day. I'll take naps throughout the day, like I'll take a nap in the day, and it's like that will help.
Right, just for survival's sake. Yeah, like
Yeah,
your body needs a certain amount of sleep.
my
Yeah.
body needs to sleep. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like I'll just if I like I'm laying down watching TV or something, or on my phone, and I feel tired, I'm like, oh great, I can just fall asleep because I'm constantly doing something. I cannot like it's very hard for me to lay in bed and just fall asleep.
Mhm.
So normally I go to bed very early. I go to bed like 10 o'clock. Yesterday I try to like last night I tried to push it as hard as I could. I was trying to go to bed at midnight. Still up 2, 3 a.m. till
Wow.
like now. It's like it's exhausting. It's so exhausting. But I'm up and I'm constantly nervous. I'm constantly having this like feeling that something bad's gonna happen, or it's I don't know, an internal struggle that I don't know, and I think it's has something to do with this is where I'm gonna get into this part here, where it's I think like something to do with my younger self. Like when I was my dreams are constantly in this my school.
Okay, yeah.
When I first like my first school that I had went to, I had switched from a public school to a Catholic school, and I got bullied so bad in this school. It was horrible. I wasn't there for long. I was there for like maybe 3 or 4 years, and then I transferred to a different school where it's like my home school now, or like my hometown now.
Yeah.
Um, but this school was just like horrible bullying to me, and it was like the specific person that to this day, this is where this part comes in, the Phoenix.
Mhm.
It's like with my drinking, and I remember I told you a situation like prior when I was living with a friend,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it did something to me, and I held that in for every day. I held it in, and it just the flame just kept getting like stronger and stronger. And the last day that I was there, it's like I lit that match.
It
She,
released. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's happening again where I literally am looking up this person. They basically have like no social media, but I found them on Facebook, and I constantly think about just like when I reached out to my friends. I have a group. I said, guys, what can you recommend to someone that has been bullied by somebody, like I understand when like he or she, because it's like it's a group of males and females, young kids. Kids are cruel, they're mean. It is what it is. I understand that, yeah, they didn't have much. So maybe that's why they were like mad at me or whatever. Who cares? I don't know. It could be any situation. That's what I'm maybe thinking and feeling now in the future, that maybe they didn't have as much, so they were mad that other people have more than them. Even though we're just kids, we're just provided with what we have. I'm not going out to the store and buying the shoes that I wear. I'm not going.
Yeah, no
You know
one's
what
in
I mean?
control
But
of what
no one's
parents are.
I'm not in control of that.
Yeah.
I'm just a kid coming to school and I'm new, right? So whatever. Besides the point, it just was constant, like evil bullying, like where they would like go to the principal and say things that I didn't do, where my mom would have to come and like defend me and say that he didn't do those things. Like, you guys, they're lying. Yeah. To the point where like now that my mom's passed away, it's like, I don't know. It's like I just feel this rage inside of me that like I look these people up. There's like 4 or 5 of them, male, female. I look them up and I'm like, I will fucking, like, if I were to see them, I will kill them, like burn their house down. And if I was to say this, like if I were to go to say, they're like, Dan, you need to get like maybe look into getting some therapy, things like this. And they told me, like, they gave me like the best advice. They were just basically saying that this person was, or these people essentially, it's easier just to say one person. Because this is when you say a bunch,
it's like an entity, a personification.
Yeah, so it's like, just say one person. So if this person was doing these things to you and yada yada, when you moved to the school that now that I'm texting the friends, when you moved to the school, you were one of the most popular kids at the school. So it was nothing to do with you. It was their issue. It wasn't anything to do with you. You're a great person, da 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 da. They explain all these things. But it's more of like, you need to figure out that those, like, or like come to terms with that those people were kids and they're like, they were young and they were going through things, and kids are mean. And you need to figure out a way to forgive them. Because I literally, like, I don't even think a week ago, I think maybe 4 or 5 days ago, I looked up on Facebook and I told my friends, I was like, I would literally burn their house down with them in it. Because that's how much rage I have inside of me. But if I were to go to like a therapist or something and say this, they'd be like, boo, you need to get locked up or something. You got some issues.
Right, they just report you rather than being like, okay,
they're like my hands, like I had to be careful, you know what I mean? So it's like, but that's the honest truth. That is the honest truth. I've never thought, when you hear this, when you hear things like this, when you see movies and people like the Punisher, for instance, his family gets killed and he needs revenge. If they need revenge, the Equalizer, it's like they will not. I'm feeling this. I'm understanding this concept, and it's like serial killery. It's like, Darren, you have issues. You need to figure your issues out, and it's a struggle for me. Like I don't know how to forgive them for doing that to me and making me feel this way this much later in my life. And the one thing that my good friends recommend, she recommended a book where like, it's a book of like coming to terms with people that have hurt you and forgiving them. So for instance, like, say someone were to kill your cat and went to jail for it. You need to come to terms with figuring out how to forgive that person for killing your cat, or, you know what I mean? I don't want to say a person, but you know.
Yeah. That idea that someone does something that's unforgivable, how do you forgive them?
Exactly.
Because you're not doing it for them. Obviously, you're doing it for yourself. Yeah. So it's like, how can you find a way to find inner peace with what happened?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the kids were animals. They shouldn't be forgiven just because they were kids. It's like, you were also a kid. Did you act that way? No. So it's like, what the fuck? Like, they're actually like insane. So it'd be just more of a matter to find out if they have learned, or if that was just, they have no regrets and that's just who they are to this day. I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough one because, here's the crazy thing. I myself wasn't bullied in school, but I was bullied at home. Like by my older brother and the neighbors. They all like grouped up on me and kind of victimized me. But the big difference is that all of those people changed. I mean, obviously, I'm with them all the time, so I can see that gradual change over time. I don't like, it's not a mystery whether or not they changed or if they're still assholes. So, and that's just by pure luck. All of them happen to change. None of them are like current assholes, right? Like when I think about my older brother, he's like the nicest guy in the world now, and it's been the biggest radical change of him being like the meanest, cruelest person ever to now like he couldn't hurt a fly, and he's like, like a reformed, like spiritual kind of Buddhist kind of guy. So he did a
The
lot of,
change.
he actually felt bad about what he did, and he changed himself to,
Correct.
so it's like it's easy to forgive someone when they've done that.
Yeah.
But if it's
And,
someone that you haven't
and
been in contact with and you don't know if they've actually felt any remorse, it's extremely difficult
it's
to let
hard.
go of the hate you can have of how they treated you. Yeah.
And all of them, I looked them all up. They barely have any social media.
Hmm.
Like just like it's just like
Which is kind
here
of
and there.
mysterious. What are they from? Like a small town? Like
Yeah,
where was
they're
this?
from Hamilton, like from Hamilton. And
Oh, okay.
what's
I thought
so
that's where you moved to, was Hamilton.
no, I moved to ended up moving to Stony Creek.
Oh, okay, okay, I got you. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So it's still kind of local, but okay, okay.
by myself. I ended up moving. But yeah,
Yeah. So that's
what
interesting.
one of my friends recommended essentially, or had
Yeah.
mentioned, is off playing on what you said is if you were to, for instance, explain your situation to those people, I'm sure they would be sympathetic and be like, you know what, I'm really sorry that that happened because, like you mentioned, because people have changed from so they were kids at the time,
Yeah.
so they might not even know, like they don't even know, they might not even, and they might not even know that they had hurt me that bad, or they don't even probably remember. You know what I mean? They're just living their lives and everything's fine, right? But for me, I'm just like, it's like I can't get over it. I just can't get over it. I'm just like so mad about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I'm sure if I were to approach them about it, they would be like, "We're sorry. That was mean. We were kids. We're all adults now. I'm sorry you feel this way, etc., etc." Unless they're complete assholes still.
Well, yeah,
Like,
here's the thing. I feel like it's statistically unlikely, but still there's maybe like a 10% chance that they're like actually insane assholes and they have no remorse,
yeah,
right? That they just so happen to be sociopaths. There's like a 10% chance that that's the case. But still,
yeah,
that means 90% chance that they actually do feel bad about what they did.
yeah.
Um, but it's tough. There was something that I was actually thinking about at the beginning of us talking about this when you mentioned how we're kind of right in the middle of March right now. It's kind of Shakespearean. I haven't personally read this or watched this, but have you heard of the Ides of March? I
No.
forget which one that was, if it was Hamlet or something, but the Ides of March specifically means the middle of the month, the 15th of March, and that's kind of when the downfall of like Caesar happened or whatever. And so
Oh,
throughout history, or at least for the last 600 years, because that's how old Shakespeare is, there's been this notion with the middle of March being this kind of downfall time, of there being this
uh,
foreboding kind of feeling about the middle of March. Whether it's because winter's coming to an end, um, the change that happens kind of causes the weather to be kind of shitty for a while. It's mucky, it's kind of wet. It's, you don't feel good. It's still cloudy. Like it takes a while for the sun to come out and to become warm. I mean, even we're dealing with global warming now, so there are periods where it's really sunny. But yeah, it's I would just say that you're not alone when it comes to feeling strange around this time, and the radical weather has not helped, I think, at all.
yeah.
But yeah, just to get kind of back onto those people, what was the biggest takeaway do you think that you got from those recommendations that everyone gave you? I mean, did
Definitely,
they
I'm
like?
going to look into reading more
Yeah,
about people that are recovering from those type of things, like
mhm.
where they have. It's like I have PTSD, and like I don't know. It's just so strange because it's like I was drinking for so long. Like it's just like hard to describe. It's like I was 18, and then it's like from 18, that's like when everything just changed. And 18, from 18 to like 25, that like so much changes in like such a short amount of time. And I
Yeah.
was literally just completely just incoherent with drinking at like during those times. So those are such like important times of your life where
Yeah. Yeah, for most
you know what I
people,
mean.
it's you're going into adulthood and there's that radical change of maturity that happens. And I mean, I'm the exact same way, right? Like I started when I was 19. I feel like for both of us, we just kind of disappeared. Like that's the way that I think
We
about it is
just went.
I was gone. I
Yeah,
I made it so that my life was kind of over. I was like this is the end. Like
exactly.
I'm just existing now, but I have no life. Like it's gone. I'm just drinking.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, like yesterday, I had my sister over for her birthday,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we made cupcakes and all this jazz, and it was great. But it's so weird because prior to when I was living in the house with her, I had a seizure. Like I had blacked out and had a seizure. And she was like calling like she was about to call the ambulance when I'm waking up, and like I pee myself, all this stuff. And I was thinking that could have just happened without her being there. And I would have just,
Right.
like, you
And
know what I mean? It's just like little
yeah.
things where I'm just like, that just clicked into my head yesterday. I was like, because I don't talk to her often. And like, because when I was living in the house, I was an alcoholic and like we headbutted a lot. It really just like separated us for a while. So just even for her to hang out with me yesterday, I made it really important to her that I want to make the effort for her birthday, right? So it's like we keep it small. You come over. I'm not gonna come to the house with everybody there. You come here. We keep it simple, small. Boom. You go home at a good time. Done. At least it's something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a good something. I feel like it's better that
Yeah.
way. It's more personal. Yeah.
So it's like I'm just looking into doing certain things where I can just feel a little bit better about the person that I am, maybe on the inside. Like I don't know why I constantly feel this like rage. I constantly feel this like burning inside. Like I'll wake up and I'm just like before I had long hair. This is why I have long hair specifically, because I would pull my hair out all the time. Like I would have bald spots in the back of my
Right.
head because I would just pull my hair out all the time. So I went and got it professionally done so that because I spend the money on professionally getting it done, I won't pull it out. Same thing with my fingernails. I would bite my nails really, really bad. I'd pull them off like they bleed. Basically, there's still kind of scarring on the tops here because I would pull them out, pulls them off so much. And that's why I now get them done because it's something that I'm putting money into, or like that I don't want to now ruin because I'm putting money and time and effort into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. You can touch
Does
it.
that
It's
make
now not
sense?
just yours. It's this yeah, like
Yeah, so
more
it's like
than what it was. Yeah.
little ways of me trying to improve certain things, right? So I'm gonna try reading more, and then now that it's like I find my place is a little dark, so I'm like I've been looking for somewhere else, but it's like right now it's just not the time. Like it's just there's not like it's just not the time.
No, not the
So
season. Yeah, you don't
yeah,
even have to think about it as being like, oh, I want to do this thing, but I'm being halted by my own, like emotional shortcomings. It's like it's a seasonal thing. It's important that you're
yeah.
focusing on what you're focusing on. It's a good thing. It's not there's no hindrance happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so speaking of reading, actually, there's this book I finished a while ago. I feel like it didn't like I feel like I kind of already knew a lot of the elements of the book going into it, so it didn't have as much of an impact as I maybe wanted it to have on me. But I would still recommend it to everybody and anybody. It's
Mm-hmm.
called King, Warrior, Magician, Lover: The Four
Okay.
Archetypes of the Masculine Psyche, and
Okay.
it's really interesting because it talks about the shadow realms, like the bipolar extremes of either side of those four things. So when you think about the
Okay.
king, it's about authority and leadership, and so you can be very balanced in the middle, or you can be super passive and just let everything go to waste and be very uncaring, or you can be tyrannical and be super authoritarian and controlling of everybody out of fear of losing your power. And then obviously all the different ones. Lover is like you can be hypersexual, or you can like not let anyone touch you. So it's like the polar extremes of the shadow realms of either side, and it's
Mm-hmm.
about finding the balance of the middle. And a lot of it just comes
Balance
down
is
to
key.
understanding even what it is, because most of the time people don't even know what's happening inside their own mind, right? So it's about understanding what mechanisms go into why we are the way we are and how we act, and understanding that there are alternatives to our current existence, which is just to understand what is happening inside the mind. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
interesting
really
because
interesting.
it's not strictly scientific. It's what's it called? Psychoanalytics, which is like trying to understand psychology through analytical thinking. So, which is what they
Mm-hmm.
do, right? They call it archetypes because it's like these four, very important aspects of human nature. Being a lover, magician, which is like the wonderment of like nature and life and everything. The warrior, which is the action element of us, and then the king, which is like the authority, parent figure, manager, whatever, right? Like like you have a dog, like caring for your dog, like that kind of thing, right? So it's like these
Mm-hmm.
four elements that come to being a human being. And then that book is specifically the masculine psyche, but there's another book that's the feminine psyche.
Okay.
Even though I can't imagine them being too
Interesting.
different, but it was written back in the 80s, so yeah, they separated it, right? It's just
Cool.
that's one of those little things of the time, but yeah.
Really cool. That's really, it sounds like 100% that like those qualities definitely are, there's a high and there's a low, and like balance is key like with those things. And I think that's again something I'm going to take in. I wrote it down, like it's just something I'll look into, where I just want to pick little brains here and there and just take in as much as I can. Like I was going through my yearbook yesterday, just
Oh,
trying
no
to
kidding.
bring,
Yeah.
yeah, just really looking at the autographs that I had and like seeing the people that are in it, and those same people are the people that I had texted for the advice, right? And it's just
Yeah, no kidding.
interesting how afterwards you're looking through it and you're like, these are the same people in my life. These are the people that are important to me. They
Yeah.
care about me. They're going to recommend me good advice. And that's where I think sometimes you really need to just focus on self. And if you're not there mentally, don't be shy to say that you're not okay, or you're not, how to put it, like you're just not mentally there. I guess it depends because everybody
To
goes
be
through it
honest
in a
with
different
yourself rather
way.
than hiding it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To
Yeah.
allow yourself to be vulnerable and honest and open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why we're filming this on Tuesday, because I really just like, I don't know what it is. It's just like so much things. I'm just like, I don't know how to describe it. I'm just like, it's like I'm going through like a midlife crisis or something, where like I don't know where my place is really, and like I'm still trying to become like somebody that I respect, and like I remember I don't know if I mentioned to you, like when I was drinking and things like that, there was times I didn't look in the mirror for so long.
Yeah, I think you might have mentioned that to me. Yeah.
Or I would just like get dressed or whatever, like brush my teeth, whatever. But it's not like I'm looking in the mirror and being like if I look in the mirror, I'm like ashamed of myself. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah.
that's like you see like you always see like movies or like TV shows or something where it's like they have that internal struggle where they're looking in the mirror and they just like there's something just wrong, you know, and you're always just wondering like how do they get to that point, you know? But
Yeah.
it's over like constant. Like I find that it's just over constant.
Well,
I've just
it's
been on my own, so
yeah, yeah. It's the frog in the boiling water, right? It just slowly
yeah,
happens over time where you don't even realize that you're kind of dying, and it takes that moment of realization. Um,
yeah,
and then once you do, it's not over. It's not like all it takes is realizing and then you're good. That's the start of the journey. That's beginning to get better. That's not getting better. It's like that's just the
mm,
starting mark of like I now realize that there is something that's wrong, and that I want to try to get better, and then it's the slow process, which is a personal
mm,
process too. It's insane how so many people can write self-help books about this and that, and it's like everybody's different. There is not a one size fits all to it, right?
yeah. It's
It's
really
crazy how
true.
different people are. Yeah, it's like everybody's
It's
got a different journey about how they can find self-improvement. Um,
and
and
that's
also that's not the point either. The point isn't to get to the perfect place. It's the dance. It's the journey about getting. We're in a constant state of change, so we shouldn't
yeah,
expect ourselves to become the best, just better, and
yeah.
that's
Better
the
than
process.
yesterday, better
Exactly.
than the
Yeah.
last
Yeah. Yeah.
second. Yeah,
Take it daily.
agreed with
Yeah.
that. Agreed with that. And that's gonna be my segment. And like ending it on that note,
Mhm.
this is why like I really am now, like I remember I was mentioning before in the prior process that I make passive income, and it's like I have no purpose almost, where it's like I want to be doing something tangible and like touching
Right.
something.
Yeah.
So and like seeing something be built, and that's why I started this, and that's why
Right.
I named it SWOT, which is struggle, weakness, opportunity, and tragedy. Those four, like those things really in like they're engraved in me, and like those are the things that I've been constantly replaying in my head over and over and over again, and they really shape who I am. So just do what you can, I guess, and stay true to yourself, because and don't be shy to ask for help. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. It's human nature to be social. People care about other people. And
Hmm.
it's insane to say, but it's like every single buddy is different, but everybody is also the same. We all are just looking
Exactly.
for love. We're all just trying to feel good. We all just want a purpose, and we all just have that shared interest, even though it's personal. It's like we care about other people because that's what we want, and that's why we work together, and that's why we have a civilization and society. The reason it works is just because we care about other people. It's because we're
Yeah.
social, and we want love, with other people and with ourselves. So yeah, it's about that process.
Yeah. I completely agree.
And
And
with
that's
that, I
where
just want to
like
say, Darren, I
yes.
love you. I know I said that like, once or twice before,
I know
but
you tell me
I
all the
actually
time.
mean it. I
Thank
care
you.
about you, and I'm
I
I'm
love you too. I
glad
appreciate it.
that we were just able to talk about this and that you were able to have the time. And so, yeah, any time that you don't want to do Sunday, we can do it. It doesn't matter if I have a shoot day. We can do it after the evening. It's yeah, because that's the most important thing is mental health, right?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Like, and like sometimes that's the thing where like I'm always trying to like please and impress and satisfy everybody. But again, I really made a like it's not a resolution. I don't do resolutions because I do those things every single day. But it's something that I'm working on every day. Where 2021 moving forward is really going to be focused on me. I'm not going to be putting the needs of other things or people before my own. And I've been doing that for way too long. And I think I've been doing that on the sense of these kids were like bullying me. So now I'm constantly in need of trying to like impress my bosses, impress my friends, impress my coworkers, all these things where it's like you don't need to impress anybody but yourself. Look in the mirror and impress yourself. That's it.
Yeah.
The people that will be around you and that will want to fan this flame will fan it, and that's the people that you need to be around. Nobody else.
Yes, absolutely.
That's and that too. I wanted to just share my screen really quickly.
Yeah,
Just a little baby clap.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, can you see my screen right now? Is it just
It's
you?
coming up. It's currently gray and tangible.
I just wanted to
That's
make sure
that's
I
that.
use that in the right context.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's just something that I feel like I make passive income, which is great. Like for me, it's waking up to sales. Like that's my favorite thing. I like to wake up and I see sales. Hello, money in the bank account. Awesome. But I didn't do anything for that. I mean, I did prior, something you
Yeah,
set up,
you
and
invested.
then it works itself. It just pays for itself. It works. Great. I'm waking up. I'm like, hallelujah. Great. I keep doing this over and over again. It's like I'm waking up. I check my email. I'm like, oh, sales. Check my email. Oh, sales. Oh, check my sales. 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 Okay, great. Why do I feel like shit on the inside though? But then I send these out and I see people opening them. I'm putting them together. People order them and I send them out, and then that is like something I get really excited about. I feel really great when I see the feedback. I'm like, wow, that's different. That's a different feeling. You know what I mean? So again, I'm working on it and I'm trying my best to like really just do things for myself to make me happy. And I think with my clothing line and moving forward, I'm really taking all this, even in negativity energy, anything that I'm taking, and I'm
Yeah,
trying to really grow something and grow myself from it
yeah, yeah,
into
absolutely. That's the best way
positivity.
you can use that energy, right?
Yeah,
That's therapeutic. Take the negative
yeah,
energy and use it as a tool to help yourself and better it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like make it something like I was posting a picture yesterday where it's like my mask and my hat, and it says something. It's an in sync lyric, but it's cut in a way where it's uh, I can even it's tearing up my heart when it's the song is it's tearing up my heart
Okay, yeah,
when
yeah, yeah.
I'm with you. But let me just look it up really quickly because I'm just gonna tell you the lyric.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah. Those are big
he's
ones.
like
I get
that's
it.
really okay. So it says, and no matter what I do, I feel the pain.
Right. Yeah.
And no matter what I do, I feel the pain with or without you. Like that part, cut that part out. But no matter what I do, I still feel the pain. It is what it is. That's my truth. That's what my brand is. Like that's people relate to that. And being
Yeah.
honest about it, it's like that's something. It takes something special to be honest about it. And it's
Yeah.
like, damn, bro, you're depressed as hell. Figure that out. But I'm
Right.
getting
Right.
there. I'm getting
Yeah. Well. Like, what's the first part about getting there? Is being honest about it. So yeah.
exactly is admitting it, right? And
Yeah. Very
again, and
nicely done.
that's even too. I'm making a little bit of like humor to it and
Mhm.
adding, but it's part of. I do really feel those things on the inside, and that's like why I created the brand, because I feel that I need that tangible something, and the feelings that pain that I feel inside is I'm taking it out and creating something with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is the
Strength,
best,
weakness,
the best thing you can do. Yeah.
exactly, and like
Yeah.
it's really seeing it grow, and like that's something that's creating happiness for me.
Nice.
So yeah, that's it. That's for me. That's it for me, guys. That
That is
was
the
my
segment.
segment.
Yes.
Was like I just had to get that out, and I
Yeah.
appreciate the support, Joe. I really do, because you got one of my hats. I appreciate that, and you still
Yes, and I
continue
love
to
it.
support
I'm
me.
I'm I'm a sucker for green. What can I say?
So
I don't know why. Yeah. But it's good,
I,
yeah. And what's do a plug? What's the website? Give the whole name.
SWATshop.ca.
Yeah. Super simple, super
SWOT
clean.
shop.ca. Supersimple.ca.
Yeah. So
Yep.
everybody hit it up.
Love it. Thank you.
And it's in the middle of a campaign, so you check it out now, you check it out later, it's going to be a different experience. So yeah, by all means,
Yep. Every
become
month,
a returning.
giveaways.
Yeah.
Monthly giveaways. Every time you go on, every month you go on my site, it's gonna be something new, fresh, exciting. Hello, can't go wrong.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
Speaking of fresh and exciting, where are you right now?
Oh my
Seems
gosh.
fresh.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's so funny. Behind me is a lovely exchange happening. I don't know if they're asleep because they've not moved in a long time, but they're just staring into each other's eyes. It's just Godzilla with baby Godzilla. They're just these two giant iguanas loving each other.
The baby Godzilla looks so not like Godzilla.
I know. It looks like Barney almost, you know?
Yeah.
Makes you wonder who's the other parent.
It's odd, right? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's a little cross love happening with these dinosaurs. A little Barney love, a little Godzilla love. But there you go. There's the baby. Yeah, it's a warm climate. You know how throughout the natural evolution of the Earth, there have been different periods. One of the periods that happened in early life, before the dinosaurs, I think it was like 3 billion years ago or something insane like that, was the age of the insect. It's when there was way more plant life on the Earth than animal life, and so there was way more oxygen than there currently is now. There's like 10 times as much oxygen in the atmosphere, and apparently the more oxygen there is, the bigger these tiny creatures get. So granted, while Godzilla is not an insect, Godzilla is a reptile. I specifically think he's a form of iguana or Komodo dragon. That could be a contributing factor. I think I'm 3 billion years in the past, where Godzilla is a lot larger than his current delineated species is today that currently exists. But that's just my guess. Either way, I'm having fun. It's the cosmic philosophy of just going with the flow, you know.
Yep.
I go with the solar wind wherever it takes me. Yeah. But they're chill. I haven't been killed yet, so you know. I'm relaxing. I'm like waiting for a giant insect to come out of somewhere, but I'm doing good so far.
Yeah. I like giants. Don't fall like in a giant like spider pit or something. I think that was that in it. Was that in a Godzilla movie or no? I think it was. Right?
Yeah, the 2005.
No,
Godzilla.
it was Kong. Oh wait, was it?
It was King Kong.
I don't remember. It was Kong, but not Godzilla.
Hey, but those universes are converging now with the upcoming Kong versus Zilla.
I just remember spiders. Yeah. Big spiders. I remember big spiders in the cave.
Because it was like fun with the dinosaurs and then disgusting with the insects. That island had everything in it. Yeah.
Oh, so
I was not about that. That was just it's like that's good horror, I guess, because of how disgusting it is. But either way, so that's my location situation. But as far as what I'd like to talk about today, it's far more shallow than what you were talking about. But I still think it's worth talking about because of how prevalent it is in my life. So in my line of work, I do a lot of driving, right? I put myself in that situation, right? I like driving, but at the same time, I also like being constantly stimulated. I just got that kind of brain, right? It's that ADD fanaticism. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, right? I just, it's just conversations and stuff, right? Keeps you engaged. One of the podcast channels that I follow, probably the biggest one I follow, is the H3 podcast. It's been around for a long time, like since 2014 or 15.
Yeah, I love the H3 podcast.
It's by this guy H3, also known as Ethan Klein, and his lovely wife Ela Klein. Do you know a lot about them? Yeah. Have you been following what's been going on?
I watch Frenemies and everything weekly. Like I've been watching Ethan. I've been watching Ethan for a while. Like I think the first time I saw his podcast was either Shane Dawson or it might have been when Post Malone was on it. That was the first time I've seen it.
Yeah, so that's pretty far back.
So I've been a fan since then. Yeah, I've been a fan since then.
Yeah, nice. Well, hey, same here. I was a fan of his YouTube videos before the podcast, and as soon as he went the route of the podcast, I was like, I'm out. I'm not a fan anymore. I don't like podcasts, because this is before I started listening to podcasts. So I was like, all right, it's been a fun run, Ethan, but you have fun doing whatever the heck this is. And then it wasn't until I started driving that I started getting into podcasts, and then I started listening to his, and now I've just been listening to it this whole time.
That's
And
so fun.
it's like one of the biggest contributors to how he became so popular and famous was because of just his personality, right? He just had this kind of glowing, kind of goofy, funny personality, and also he called out just silly, crazy people who were being like, like prank videos or just people who were being like overly dramatic, that kind of thing, right? He had fun, kind of poking the bear in that sense, right? But it was in a
Yeah.
harmless way. He was just a fun-loving guy, right? Um, and so he gets into the podcast
To
world,
some
and
extent. To some extent.
to some extent,
Because
yeah,
when, because
exactly. It
remember,
doesn't
the
go all the
Dr.
way. He's
Drew
not a
was like,
drama channel.
yeah, he's like,
He's just a comedy channel. That's his big thing. Um, and yeah, as soon as the podcast started, the podcast was specifically interview based, right? Until he couldn't get a new guest every single time, because I'm pretty sure it was either weekly or biweekly, or not biweekly, 2 times a week. Um, he started doing news segments where it would be like 2 hours of him just talking about whatever was happening, but in a funny way, in the classic way that he's been known for. And then over this past year, he befriended Trisha Paytas, and they started their Frenemies podcast, and
yeah.
it started off super rocky, man. They really did not seem like they were gonna make it. They like hated each other. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty wild. I mean, I don't know if you're on the edge
It's
of
a
your
lot of
seat, but they
frenemies,
had some
though.
turbulent episodes there. Um,
Yeah.
but they made it through, and especially with some help from whatever that stupid doctor guy is, who was
Yeah,
like
Dr.
caught having
Drew.
boat parties during COVID.
Dr.
Yeah,
Drew.
yeah. So that guy's kind of like smart but an idiot. He's kind of like
Wait,
Elon Musk.
no, that's not the one, though. That's
I
not
thought it
who
was
helped
Dr.
them.
Drew that was having
Dr.
boat parties.
Dr. Drew was on the show to kind of like give people a little bit of insight of like kind of what Trisha's going through with her
Yeah.
like all her personalities.
Yeah.
But it's a doctor that is like he's like a famous YouTuber. He's a doctor or something. There Ethan was basically calling him out for basically being on his YouTube, having millions of subscribers and saying wear masks, be social distancing, and then he goes on a yacht with all these girls and
Yeah.
thing
Classic
comes like his back.
politician move.
Yeah. Well,
Say
I
one
forget his
thing
name.
and do another.
He's a doctor. He's one of those
Yeah.
pretty boy doctors that are like young and whatever.
Yeah. Got that James Franco vibe going. I mean, wait, but that's
Yeah.
bad because James Franco's been dealing with some shit lately. But anyway, so to finish off this timeline of where I'm going with this, um, they, obviously for financial reasons and other reasons, they were like, let's do like a lot more episodes a week than we've currently been doing. Let's do 3 episodes a week. Let's do 4 episodes a week. Let's do 5. I don't know if they got that far, but they got to a point where they're doing 4 episodes a week. That's a lot of content that they're pushing out, right? And so they found a way to kind of switch it up a bit. So the Frenemies is one. Um, whatever the court case one is, it was another one. They did After Dark, where it's more inappropriate stuff, like super, like crazy, like it's not like live leak footage, but just a lot crazier stuff. And then they had the normal one and the interview one. But something that I've noticed is that he's kind of gone down a hole now where he keeps saying the same stuff, as if, and I guess to an extent it's almost justified because it's like maybe there are people who only listen to one version of it, right? Like maybe there's someone who only listens to Frenemies but doesn't listen to the other stuff. So he repeats himself a lot now, and he didn't do that before.
It's over the whole thing. It's like it's almost like you can't. It's I actually stopped watching H3 because it's like he's just gonna repeat it to Hila on After Dark.
Yeah. So it's
Because
literally
Hila's
pushed
not
you to the
there.
point where you just won't
It's
listen to
like
half his
I've
content
done
because
that.
he's
Yeah.
repeating himself. Yeah, it's become pedantic. So
Yeah,
so I guess
agreed.
my own take on it is I listen to everything because I need content. I'm on the road and I'm desperate. I listen to other podcasts, but then I run out of stuff and I'm like, I need more. I need more, I'm desperate. I need more content. And I'm picky. I don't like listening to like hundreds of podcasts. There's just like the top 5 that I listen to.
There's
So
not many good ones.
I know. So I've put myself in a hole where I'm just like, I need more stuff. So that, yeah, that's the hole where I'm in, where I'm just like, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm still watching his stuff, but it's like I don't even enjoy it anymore because I'm like, he's like fallen from grace. It's like almost not funny anymore. Like I don't know.
It's horrible. Like, how do you feel about this? Like, how do you feel about this? Like, this is why, like, I've watched every single episode up to this point, except last H3. I had to stop it halfway
Yeah.
because I do not like the fact that like I'm all for like 100%. I'm all for David Dobrik. Like he did something
Right.
bad. He
Yeah.
did something bad. He needs to be addressed and it needs to be known.
Yeah.
But we don't need to be bringing up clips of like him talking about like he was Jewish and like all these like random things that are from like years ago, and Ethan's just sitting there talking about it. I had to
Well,
end
because
it. I was
yeah,
like,
it's
this
not
is
related to the big case that he's trying to bring up.
yeah,
So it's
like
becoming
this
petty.
doesn't matter. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You could be a douchebag 3 years ago. You can be a douchebag today. If the topic is that he made somebody feel uncomfortable, stick to that. Don't go
Yeah.
bringing up things from literally he's bringing up stuff from like 2017, and I'm just like, this is bullying at this point. Because it's like you can't, for instance, you can't really hate on David for having Scotty Sire making this video and like all these his little minions do this stuff when on his podcast everybody's kissing his ass. Like they all dyeing their hair
Yeah.
blonde. They're
Yeah.
all like they're all really cult leaders towards Ethan. It's not like they are, but you know what I mean. It's like you can't really.
They're all
So
on
just like
board. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like,
It's a
isn't
double
this the
standard.
same thing? It's like a double. And I don't. I'm a person where I think for myself. No matter what, I just like I can't. It's bullying at that point where you're just negatively talking about somebody that has nothing to do with the current topic.
Yeah. Yeah. And so yeah, I guess my final point just on the matter is, I just want him to move on.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand that the only reason he's gone on for so long is because he doesn't have anything else to talk about. So he's kind of desperate. He's put himself in a hole by saying I'm going to make 3-4 episodes a week, where he just needs something to talk about. So he's starting to repeat himself, and he's being petty and bringing up all these minor things. And yeah, so it's gone to a point now where I'm like, I understand that financially that's the reason why you're probably doing this, but it might not be worth it because you might start to actually lose a lot of your fan base if you keep this up. You're not going
Yeah,
to lose me because I'm addicted
I'm
to
down.
podcasts at this point and I need
I'm down for
content.
Frenemies.
But like I'm not listening to it and not enjoying it at this point. So it's like I'll still listen to it, but
Well, how do you feel about this? Let me ask you
yeah,
this. So,
yeah,
like, how I think personally, like, I think I hate to say it, I just think he's lazy. Like, he constantly talks
that's
about his
yeah,
weight, and like, he's not really doing anything. And I don't like how people are like constantly like they just did this thing where like they're kind of making fun of like Jake Paul because he sold these like Pokemon cards and like okay,
oh, but
I
then they
don't
do it
hate
themselves.
but don't hate a person. That's what I'm saying. Don't hate a person for like making money and like being a like. Yeah, he's a douchebag and like whatever. He went and saw dead people in the. That was years
Oh
ago.
my god, that
But
was so
now
sad.
he went and got all these people together. He created a scheme or whatever he's doing, and he wants people want to buy into it. He made money off it. What's the deal? What's the problem? The
Yeah,
David Dobrik thing with the he's like the puzzle da 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 the puzzle. Why are people buying this puzzle? They're not winning 100,000. It's like people just want to buy the puzzle because they like David Dobrik. They're not thinking they're winning $100,000. They just but yet you're driving a Bentley. It's like stop. It's just like it doesn't. We need
yeah,
to
yeah,
charge $1,000 for this. Let's make some money, guys. Let's make some money. It's like, but why when you're driving a Bentley? Like when you make enough money, you're currently making great money because you're able to sustain all of this. So to now like have people donating thousands of dollars for useless, basically useless pieces of that even the cast is saying don't buy this please, it's ridiculous.
right, yeah.
Are you familiar
I
with what I'm talking about?
wait, say it again. The casting.
The cast they created these things like on their website on like what is it,
Oh,
Discord or something,
yeah, yeah.
where there's like these like little I don't even because they're basically explaining how like art
The
how you
yeah, the
like
NFTs. Oh my gosh. That is silly. Okay. Well, okay, so it's like I don't even want to go into that because it's so stupid, but
it's so
I can
dumb.
it's so many people are confused because it's so stupid. The actual matter of fact of NFTs, you don't own it. You know you don't have any property over it. You just get to say that you bought it. That's all it is. It
It's
has
like
a
why is there
tracking
so
ID. That's all it is. It's just an image or GIF or video that has a tracking ID. That's it. You don't own what you bought. Anybody else can have it for free. You just get to say that you own it and get to prove it with a tracking ID that's attached to the file. That's it. It is the stupidest thing. It never should have left the art scene. It should just exist for high art that's now become digital. I understand those people are bougie and they're idiots and whatever,
And they
but
just spend
that
money.
culture shouldn't be like merging with meme culture. It's like this is actual thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars that people are putting towards stupidity, and
Yeah.
it's a waste of
And then now
everyone's
you're
money and time.
redid the same thing, and then like your own staff is gonna say, "Don't buy these things; they're stupid." And now let's all make money, guys. Let's all make money. So that's like, so they all
Yeah,
make a
yeah.
couple $1,000s.
Yeah,
Okay.
the fact that he jumped on board with that is the worst move.
And then the last little thing that I have to say is, if I feel like his like the staff isn't being utilized. So therefore, it's his job. If he wants to talk about David Dobrik for 2 hours, then pull the staff together, pull your little judging thing on, and pull a content court. Why am I sitting here listening to you?
Exactly. It should just have been a content court.
For
I
like
know. Oh my gosh.
multiple things. It's like I understand he did something bad. He needs to be, but you're mad because he's young, and he's a pretty boy that has his tongue out, and
That's so funny that I kept bringing that up.
he makes
Like, so
millions
what
of
if he
dollars.
does that?
Cares? It's a certain type of audience that buys into that. Let them buy into it. There's a certain type of audience that buys Teddy Fresh. There's a certain type of audience that looks at Teddy Fresh and is like, "This is lame." You know what I mean? That's not your audience. There's a certain type of people that look at Jake Paul and they're like, "I want to help support him get Pokemon cards." Da 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 da. He's doing his hustle. James Charles, all those people, they're all doing they're hustling. They're all hustling.
Well, here's an interesting thing. As like, I mean, I guess I haven't gone over the analytics of it, but I'm fairly certain that he is as successful as he was a year ago when he wasn't doing when the main content wasn't drama. It was making fun of the news.
Yeah,
Like, you will never run out of content. The news is constant. It's always changing. You always have new stories. And you can make fun of it, and it's hilarious. That's my favorite content from him. And I feel like he's literally stopped making that. He hasn't made that for like 2-3 weeks, a month now. Like he just hasn't.
It's like he's merged Frenemies with his daily things.
Content, and that's all he talks about now. It's just drama.
After Dark should be like that. You should be talking about After Dark. Like, if you want to talk about like dirty memes and stuff like that, bring that to After Dark.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Just keep it the simple, clean news, and that's what I'm saying by like I think his staff is being underutilized because I feel like anytime you cut to the staff, they're just like, we're over this. Like Ian
they don't want to talk to him. Yeah. Well, I feel like the term lazy might like overlap with just exhaustion. I feel like they're gassed and maybe they need to take a break or make less episodes so that they make better content. Maybe you need a rest day. Maybe you shouldn't be making these podcasts every day because the quality of the content has gone down significantly. So I think it's a combination of everyone's just gassed and they don't have enough time to fucking breathe, nonetheless, like do research into things. And then that also is just laziness. They're like, we don't care. We're just going to pump this out anyway because views, because money. So it's really unfortunate. But with that said, I don't want the channel to die. I want it to just be better. It's like, go back to the formula that works. Just go over the news.
I'm really happy that you thought that because it's like I literally just went through that last week. I'm like, I cannot stand this. It's just like it's like ear pinching at this point. It's like you're just listening to like a baby whine about things that he can't get. Like,
and the same thing, which is the most annoying thing. You just keep hearing the same thing from the same person.
David Dobrik.
Yeah.
David Dobrik. David Dobrik. Jews. David Dobrik. Jews. It's like stop. David Dobrik.
Okay, I'll say this. The funniest thing that I've heard from him in the last month was him go over the interview with Meghan Markle and Prince whoever. I forget which prince it was, Harry or Charles or whatever. Him going over that was so funny because he's literally like, he's just doing like an improv thing where he's like pretending to be the queen and they just put like rolling music behind it. But what shade of color will the baby be? Oh no, like, all the way up brandy caramel, yeah. Like that simply won't do. We won't give him any titles. Yeah. It's like, it's insane because that's actually probably what happened. It's like the joke that they're doing.
When he makes that type of stuff, it's funny. Like I like when he talks about that stuff.
Yeah, because like you're making fun of like an actual insanely dark reality of the world that we live in. Yeah.
I hope once Hila dropped off of there, it's like it's boys' night.
Right.
Is
She's been gone for a couple of podcasts now, and it's kind of sad. Like they're
she's not
just
on that anymore because she's doing Teddy Fresh.
yeah.
So she's only
Which is,
on
I
After
mean,
Dark.
yeah, that's like it's good. I mean, I would yeah. Well, okay, so here's the thing. Teddy Fresh isn't my type of fashion at all. I'm not about that color blocking. I think it's just, you know, it
Same.
exists in a certain time period, let's just say, but I still love the idea that it's literally, you know, that she's just an entrepreneur. It's like the same thing as you. I just love that idea of a single person who's created a brand and a business and is, you know, pushing that
Yeah.
forward. So
It's
even though
really
I won't buy any of her stuff, I still, you know, I still love that that's a thing. That it's not just
and
like
you
old music.
never know. Like, they may come out with something that we may like one day, right? Because they
Yeah,
always come
that's
out with
true.
different collections, so you never know.
Yeah. Actually, I think the shirt that Ethan has is like a lightning shirt or something, where it's like black with like the kind of like scattery marks. I like that design. So it's like,
Okay,
ooh,
cool.
I'd buy that if it wasn't like $60 or whatever.
And that's
Yeah.
the thing where like I don't think that's fair to like beat on people like that are
And
doing what
then
they want to do, and then you're
yeah,
selling $60. Like it's just that's not fair. I don't think that's fair at all.
it's
It's
not.
very biased.
Yeah.
Like
Like
you
back in the
yourself.
day, he was an underdog. Back when it was a YouTube channel where he was making YouTube videos, he was punching up. He was allowed to make fun of these like super rich content creators that were being like, you know, pulling double standards and stuff. But now he's kind of become that. So he's no
Exactly.
longer the voice of the people because he's this like he doesn't know what it's like to be a normal person now. He's so rich. He's like a multimillionaire.
And that's where I'm like, that's not. You can't like downgrade. Like I don't know. It's just like the whole thing where they were like doing the art thing that turned me off so much. I'm like, that's so
Same.
like
That was
it's
kind of gross. I
your
was like, ugh, you're
staff is
plugging
like
so hard right now. Like it's just not good. You're like
it's
making
like
fun of
you.
it while genuinely trying to plug it.
Yeah,
That was
and
just
then try
not.
to make profit off it, and then try to say like, "Ooh, your staff's gaining money from it," but then you're trying to profit off of it too. It's like,
Yeah,
stop. If
I think I'm gonna
like
make like half a million dollars.
donate all this stuff to like bullying or something, or that you guys are talking about with David Dobrik, like donate
Yeah,
it to
exactly. They talk shit, but
donate
then they
it
want, yeah,
to males that are getting abused that aren't don't have a voice. Like put it towards something. Like you know what I mean? And that's the part where I don't. I think it's like it's your bullying at this point. You know what I mean? Where you're not providing a solution.
you're
Like
no
it's
longer, yeah, exactly. You're kind of just the same,
you're just
you
being
know.
like a gossipy, like you're being the same. Yeah, which isn't
Yeah,
cool to me. That's not fun. I'm being like I don't want to be like somebody because when you hear when say somebody's hearing that for the first time, right? They're hearing David Dobrik making fun of like Jason for being made fun of as a kid for being Jewish.
yeah,
That clip is years and years ago. Like he came out in like 2017, 2016, which yes, David Dobrik may be a bad person now, but there's no need to bring that into the situation that has nothing to do with the situation that's going on.
You have to like find an actual thread of narrative if you want to take it down that path, or make the content corner exactly like you said. That way, it can just be you can just rate someone off of if they've changed or not over the years, and you find his most recent thing and say, "See, he has not changed. Therefore, this is who he is," kind of a thing,
Right?
rather than
So
just nitpicking. Yeah,
like
but
hire somebody to organize, and then that's where I would say like the laziness comes into aspect because he with his diet is an issue. He made a huge deal with the diet. He made Trisha do this stuff, all this exercise stuff, and then he then just
right,
says, "I'm done. I gained 2 pounds, so I'm done now." It's like, but you can't.
bro. Well, yeah. That's the funny thing is that there's clearly a way to do it. You just get a personal trainer. It's not just
I'm
a diet, right? And you have the money to do it. So it's like there is a means that you can achieve it, but at the same time, I can understand him being gassed and exhausted every single day when he's making all of these. He's just pumping all this stuff out. It's like you shouldn't be making like a podcast a day. That's way too much content and so many hours of your life gone. Like
And says the same thing. I'm like, I don't
those
agree.
just got to
He's
slow
really
down. Like focus on
when you're
himself.
rich, it doesn't matter. Like when you're rich, you're doing it. He does all that stuff from his house. Like it's not that hard. You're doing it all that's in your basement. You go
Yeah.
from the top floor to the bottom floor to your studio. You hire somebody to come and cook you meals for 3 months. Like is that you're just lazy? It's organization
You
and like
can
committing to
you can have the choice to fit it in
yeah.
your schedule. You can
You
fit a
can
personal.
really can.
Yeah, yeah,
You really can. Like don't like it's like people are busier than him and they're like doing things in order. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
I don't know. I just lately he just has not been. Especially when he quit the diet, I'm like, you been doing it for 2 weeks. What about people that are like looking up to that and seeing you diet, and then you seeing
Yeah,
your
you
wife's
have a
able to,
platform. There's a certain responsibility
and you're
that comes
saying,
with it.
screw the nutritionist. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
like,
just gonna give up, and it's like, all right, that's kind of the mentality of America. So it's unfortunate, but he's not the only one that acts that way.
yeah.
It's not good. He has a platform, and it shouldn't be that way. So yeah, what are you gonna do? But yeah, I guess all I would say is make less content, even though that would hurt me, and just focus on the news instead of drama because you should be better than that. Like stick to your laurels, as the British say. You know, it's like stick to what got you there, and be the person that you want to see in the world. I don't know. That's not a saying, but something like that. Yeah.
I get what you're putting down.
Yeah. But what are you gonna do? I don't want to just spend my whole segment shaming on him, right? I mean, because that's not the kind of I would hate it if someone did that to me. So I just want to say, you've changed, man. Go back to what you've done. No, I won't say that, but just get back to quality, right? You can continue to
Yeah.
change. You can continue to do whatever, but don't. Yeah, you've clearly dipped in quality. So if it takes less podcasts a week to get back up, then I would suggest doing that because that's the last thing you want to do is become known as someone who's lazy and someone who's just tired and like watered down version of what they used to be. It's like, be remembered for being like one of the greatest YouTube channels out there or whatever, right? Because right now you ain't showing it. So, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. When you mentioned that they're kind of like, it seems like they're a little exhausted. They are a little exhausted. And he's a little exhausted. He literally will before, it's always like a thing where like no dead air. It's like there's dead air now. If you're not watching,
Yeah, they've given up.
you're
Yeah, he'll
not
just sigh,
physically
and then
watching.
there'll be silence for
like,
like 5 seconds. Yeah, that's so funny that you say that. That's true.
a
Yeah,
lot of dead
that's one of
air.
the ultimate philosophy of his has like been breached now through his
Yep,
exhaustion.
exactly.
That's when you know
It's
you've
like,
fallen.
you've fallen, and like the staff, there's 3 other staff there that they can
So many
like
people that can be talking. Yeah.
incorporate to the conversation, and like you can hear he's like, but why is the camera not on me right now, Dan? Why am I talking to myself, Dan? It's like, but you have time before and after every podcast, like talk about those things and prepare. Like don't throw him under the bus like that. Like this is your podcast, like you're the boss.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. Then that's where I'm like, the kind of the laziness comes into aspects. You're the boss. You should be like telling these. Zach does nothing. It's nothing. Tell Zach every week, Zach, you need to have a story every week for something that I could talk about. Boom, done.
Little Joker brain. Tell us some stories about pooping on the lawn.
Yeah. It's just like, it's just the same stuff. It's like you're just hearing sound bites that are coming 3 seconds late. It's like, okay.
Yeah. No. Well, okay. I will say this. I have no idea how he does that. I have no idea.
What?
Like, what does he have? Is it a crazy soundboard? Like, I just don't know what he does. That seems like magic to me. I just don't know sound. That's not my world.
It's just a soundboard where you look up. Like, there's different ways of doing it. Because I did one where you isolate the clips or whatever, and you search them up with keywords. So, like, if it's like, say, for instance, Jessica Simpson, JS, enter. I hit JS, enter, it plays.
Okay.
Boom, done. But I have to have that memorized all the time, and you have to be witty. He's not witty enough.
Yeah. Well, I feel like he was, and it's begun to dip. But
yeah,
but
he's not witty. Like,
I think that's an easy thing to bring back. I think they're just all exhausted.
Yeah, and then you're right. I think it's the exhaustion.
Yeah.
Hey, we're still fans. We listen. Like,
I know. That's what I'm saying. This is all coming from a place of love. Honestly, Ethan, with peace and love, you fucking suck.
Peace and love. Step it up. With peace and love, step it up.
But it's like, but for real, man. With peace and love, I love you for what you've made, and I want you to, make Ethan Klein great again.
Yeah. And okay, speaking of improvements, right? So, always making improvements. I was looking over our videos and our stuff like this, YouTube, all that jazz. Looks great. But what we're going to be doing now, moving forward, is we'll title our podcast as opposed to what this topic is. So every time, guys, now listening, or for instance, if you're able to view, you're able to go back to a specific podcast, and instead of going by a number, you're able to get it by what we talked about. So, for instance, example of this podcast, we are talking about David Dobrik and some situation with anxiety and depression And H3H3. Hi, you know what I mean? So it'd be really cool to go back to that. So that was like some feedback that I had gotten. I was like, oh, great idea. Thank you guys.
I
Love
do. I
it.
love that. I love that. Yeah.
Right? It's awesome,
Got
right?
it.
So there's always room for improvement everywhere, anywhere. You just got to look for it, and that's it.
Yeah. I love it. I'm in love. I'm in love with that. Yeah.
Right? I love it. And thank you guys so much for like listening and being. Please don't be shy to comment,
Yeah.
give
Of
us any
course. As always.
emails, anything like
Yeah.
that. You know, we're always again really, really down for feedback. We love feedback.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guests, anything, please don't be shy to reach out. We might
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
another one
Just
coming.
swing it over. Slap a comment. Just yeah. Reach out to us any way you can, and we'll do what we always do, which is come at you. I mean, the amount of guests that we've had on this show is ridiculous, especially because this show is not an interview show. And somehow we've had so many people on. It's crazy. But yeah,
Yeah, it's great.
we're just going
Like
to keep it
it's like
coming. And
it's so awesome. I'm really proud of us. Like I'm really like I can't believe like how like people don't know that like when you want something so bad, fight for it and like believe in it and it will grow. Like again, we don't do this for views. We don't do this for to be the most famous podcast, whatever. We do it because we enjoy it. It's something
yeah.
to do to just get our expressions out. Remember something tangible. That's the word of today, okay?
Yes. Word of the week is tangible. So don't forget it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And until next time, we will see you guys later and hope you have a great rest of your day and rest of your week.
Take care, guys. Really appreciate it. Until next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.